Among the many great animated series out there, Futurama might be one of the most consistent in quality. Each episode is filled with delightful sight gags, humorous witticisms, and commentary that might or might not be relevant in the future. When it came to putting together a list of favorite episodes, it was not so much a question of what to go on there, but rather how to order them. As of this recording, I would say this is where I currently stand on my favorite episodes of Futurama. The day the Earth stood stupid. It's no secret that Fry is not the brightest bulb, though the writers know what level of idiotic to put him in. In this clever parody of alien invasion films, Fry becomes the hero of the story, mainly because of him lacking much in the way of intelligence. The way the writers make the other central characters incredibly stupid is very funny, as is how Fry saves the day. However, some of the highlights of this episode probably involve Nibbler revealing his secret identity to Leela, and how much they milk how cute he is. Futurama was always great with parodies, and its take of classic literature featured here produces the necessary laughs. That this episode feeds into the larger storyline of why Fry was brought to the year 3000 only adds to what makes this a memorable one. Roswell That Ends Well. A very fun time travel episode, this story bases a lot of its humor on our knowledge of the infamous Roswell incident. Zoidberg is an absolute delight here when he's captured by the military, but the best moments that turn this into a top 10 worthy episode involve the plot with Fry accidentally creating his own birth. It's so outlandish, and yet in the world of Futurama it makes sense, especially in developing Fry. Leela and Farnsworth's own subplot, in which they try to blend in with the 1950s, is also hilarious in a fish-out-of-water sort of way. When you fill an episode full of time paradoxes, it's hard not to love the creative turns they take with them. Future Stock. While a future-set show, Futurama primarily parodied the past, and this one served as a clever commentary on the 1980s Wall Street mentality. It would have been easy to just do a spoof of the Oliver Stone film. However, the guy that gets Planet Express and Fry obsessed with the stock market is his own fully realized character. Despite his obvious sleaziness, it's easy to see why Fry becomes enamored with him, and seeing him deal with the other crew members produces plenty of joke material. Zoidberg's dedication to his sandwich is surprisingly touching, though it also results in a great reveal later on. It's also an episode that gets into how human the main characters are. The episode also manages to make the stock terminology easy to comprehend, and thus funny to even those who don't follow the market and the various NASDAQs. So it's educational too, and probably a must-watch for any business executive. War is the H word. This one entangles many different plot lines into what is basically a 22-minute war movie. Seeing Fry in the battlefield produces a lot of laughs, as does Bender becoming a patsy to detonate a bomb. That element actually makes the climax suspenseful as well as funny. Leela's arc is a great one, with Zapp Brannigan's confusion being probably him at his most hilarious. You can also never go wrong with Richard Nixon showing up. The writers were able to make him both an exaggerated parody of the former president and a fleshed-out character, and Billy West's vocal work makes him that much funnier. I also have to love an episode that throws in a brilliant parody of MASH, complete with Todd Sussman reprising his role as the PA announcer, a robot doing an Alan Alda impression, and Zoidberg acting like Frank Burns. Hell is Other Robots. A very Bender-focused episode, this one works in showing how religions work in regard to man-made sentient beings like robots. Seeing Bender change throughout the episode develops him into being more than just a beer-drinking opportunist and somebody more fleshed out. However, the main reason this is one of my favorites is the entire sequence in Robot Hell. Dan Castaneda's guest role as the Robot Devil is wonderfully delightful, and the sheer joy he shows in tormenting all the robots. The musical number is one of many great songs featured throughout the course of Futurama, and part of that is how the lyrics try to include all of the scene's characters in a clever way. I love the first season of Futurama, and of that batch of episodes, I feel confident in calling this one my favorite. Jurassic Bark. It's probably against the law to not include this one on the list of best Futurama episodes, and frankly, it deserves a spot on here because of the ending alone. Definitely one of a number of emotional episodes, this storyline nicely looks at Fry's time in the 20th century. I've always enjoyed those and giving a perspective on the character. His relationship with Seymour the dog is very touching, and the episode also works in developing his friendship with Bender and showing how much of a higher opinion Bender has of Fry above other humans. What's most heartbreaking is that Fry is not even aware of Seymour's loyalty to him. When the final montage rolls along, we feel we've gotten to know Seymour, thus that connection makes it even sadder. Jurassic Park has the funny jokes, but it's that rare episode that's most notable for the tears than the laughter. The Devil's Hands are idle playthings. The original series finale, this one plays a pivotal role in developing the slowly growing romance between Fry and Leela. A take on the story of Faust, this shows a Fry that's grown a lot since he first fell into that cryogenic freezer. We also get the triumphant return of the robot devil, and Bender has some great interactions with him, particularly the running gag involving the definition of irony. It all culminates in a terrific song sequence that gives everybody a chance to sing and express their feelings, but with that typical Futurama bite. History has since changed for this not to be the series finale, but had the show not been renewed, this would have certainly been a worthy finish. Xmas Story. A twisted take on the usual Christmas special, the writers went delightfully dark on this one with its robotic and evil version of Santa Claus. They really pushed the concept as far as possible, especially when Robot Santa goes after our leads, not to mention his curious admiration for Zoidberg. I don't know why, but Dr. Zoidberg being one of the best and funniest parts of these episodes appears to be a consistent theme. I also like how they show how much Christmas has changed over the years, showing how much the holiday has also been modified since its inception. Xmas Story avoids a lot of the cliches of the standard special Christmas episode, and for that it manages to stick out among the bunch. Anthology of Interest, both parts 1 and 2. Taking a cue from the Treehouse of Horror segments from The Simpsons, these what-if segments managed to work because of their short running time. It allowed the writers to play around with the characters' personalities without disrupting canon. Anthology of Interest 1 has some fun with Godzilla-style fights, a murder spree, and an alternate timeline involving Al Gore of all people. But the second such episode has a slight edge. The Wizard of Oz parody departs in creative ways from the million other spoofs of that material, and Bender as a human leads to plenty of great joke opportunities. However, Raiders of the Lost Arcade might be my favorite, as the characters do battle with video game icons. Pac-Man as a general is even surprisingly fitting. And yes, I know this is very similar to the movie Pixels. And yes, I laughed far more in this short segment than I did the entirety of that film. But this episode would be memorable with or without the existence of that summer blockbuster. And my favorite Futurama episode is The Luck of the Fryish. This and Jurassic Park are often cited as the most emotional Futurama episodes, but I personally give the edge to this one. I do love the stories that delve into Fry's life in the 20th century, as they greatly develop him and show his relationship with other people beyond the Planet Express crew. I love how the script strings you along as you initially side with Fry about his feelings regarding the Lucky Clover. There are a lot of great jokes when they descend into the ruins of old New York, but what truly sells this episode is the ending. Unlike Jurassic Park, Fry does actually find out just how much he meant to his family after he disappeared, and it's difficult not to find it heartwarming. This is a key episode in showing that Futurama is more than just funny futuristic parodies, celebrity cameos, and Bender's alcohol-induced antics. It had a great heart, knew how to make its characters more than just punchlines, and threw in a fascinating timeline to boot. For me, Luck of the Fryish is an episode that's hard to top. But that was my list. What are your favorite Futurama episodes? I'm legitimately curious. And as always, I'll see you next time.